Hi guys, welcome to episode 9 of my Tez Talks Q&A Series 2. I like this question. My husband, he got this from, he went and had a stay earlier this year at this place where he learned a lot about psychology and how our minds work, and he was like going to college and was just taking so many notes every day. And he always says that, what they say is, if it's hysterical, it's historical, which means if it's something that really triggers you and makes you feel so angry or so sad or really overwhelmed, a lot of the time it stemmed from something in our past. They say that any specific trauma from age 0 to 17 has a lifelong impact on us unless we go back and rework our experiences with the trauma we suffered from ages 0 to 17. So I look at it as, it's quite simple, as in, that's the past. All those things that happened back then, it's choices you made in the past, it's things that happened to you in the past, things you were dragged into, it was trauma you experienced, and it's the past. It's not what we are doing right now. And I think subconsciously all of our experiences, our emotions and our feelings from the past completely come in and can start to shake up our present. It's just the way life is. And I know that, for instance, Mark had an amazing day 2 days ago. He came in, he was just on such a high and he was just feeling it and just was loving life. And then the next day he was like, I really need you. I'm so stressed out. I'm having a really hard time. I'm unsure about this and that. And together we realized that he was being triggered by some fearful patterns and some things that he experienced as a child that were coming up to rear its ugly head. And so this is going to happen to us constantly, but it's about acknowledging that our inner child is coming out and asking for help. So what Mark and I did is that we spoke to little Mark in him, and we said, little Mark, you're safe, you're loved, everything's okay, keep moving forward, you're at peace, you are safe. And so it's just our practice. And that really helped him kind of move through some of the stuff. And I think just at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do to change the past. There just isn't. There's nothing we can do. We can't time travel. We can't go back. We can't rework situations that happen to us. But what we can do is change our perspective. And so when I look back in my past, I look back on some really painful experiences, and I just shower a whole lot of love at them. I don't judge them. I acknowledge that it would have been really hard for me to have to go through some of those things. But I'm also grateful that subconsciously there was a gift in any of that suffering. And it has manifested itself in some form in my life presently. And if I can maintain like a healthy relationship to my past, and I feel really steady. So truly it's about acceptance. Really it's just acceptance and acknowledgement and understanding that happened, that was there, I'm going to move forward. No regrets, because there's nothing we can do about it. And it's just sucking from our present, and also sucking from the potential to make positive changes for the future and to rewrite the story of our lives. What happened in the past doesn't have to affect us now, doesn't have to affect our future. We get to write our stories all the time. So that's what I would suggest. And read some good books. Read Pema Chodron's really good too. she talks a lot about trauma and dealing with that. I really used her a few years ago when I was feeling a lot of suffering. I read one of her books, and she's a great spiritual teacher and helps you to keep present. So yeah, that was a good question. Worthy pursuits, I guess I label all my pursuits in life, I think now, as worthy. Because worthy, it's an interesting word. I think everything's worth it. I think there's a lesson in everything, even if something's very challenging or very hard. And so every pursuit I'm growing from in some form. And so if you mean worthy by, like, in terms of career worth, then yeah, I definitely, when I was younger, not so much now, I was very career driven, and I held expectations for myself. I will get this job. I will do this. By this age, I'll be making this much money. By this age, I'll be independent. By this age, I'll buy a house. By this age, and I had a lot of expectations, and I placed a lot of expectations on myself, which I think happens more often than not. We always have expectations of ourselves and how things should go and how things should look. Sorry, I was looking here at the 4 agreements because it reminded me of something I read in the 4 agreements. But I think expectations suck. They're the things that are gonna drag us down and pull us down, because where are we basing what are we basing these expectations on? I mean, what present reality are we basing them on? Are we basing them on other people's achievements? Well, that person did this at that age. Well, my sister was able to forge this career path. I expect that I'm going to forge that career path. In the 4 agreements, this is about making assumptions, which is very similar to having expectations. It says, find the courage to ask questions and do express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. So it's really interesting because our expectations suddenly become our truth. Well, I expect that my movie is going to perform in this way, so that's what's going to happen. I had an experience recently where someone had told me that a movie I was in was going to make this much money and it meant this for my career. And then it turned out that it didn't make that much money and it didn't mean all those things for my career, but because I didn't put any stock in these expectations, I wasn't affected either way. And that's the important thing, is just, you can have goals, but constantly be adjusting them as you go along. And I try and eradicate myself from any form of expectation and just let life unfold the way it organically unfolds. So did I want an Oscar by the time I was 30? I'm sure when I was younger, I would have dreamt of having an Oscar at 30. But am I really happy with the way my life is and the way my career is going? Absolutely, 100%. It's because I haven't placed those expectations on myself. And I am just allowing my experience and my journey to come to me in the way it's supposed to come to me. And I'm putting trust in the fact that that is the way things are supposed to look for me. And there's something beautiful in that. And that's kind of how I do it. That's how I live my life and how I move through my life. So, yeah, that's it. I think prior to doing a lot of this work, I definitely had ideas of what would bring me happiness. If I follow this path, this will bring me happiness. If I follow this path, this will bring me happiness. And now I don't try to distinguish between the two things. I just follow my intuition. I mean, truly, when something comes up, I really follow my intuition and I follow my gut instinct on it. Is this going to serve me? What is my ultimate goal? My ultimate goal is to continue to raise my profile so that I can affect positive change in the world in some form. So merging my acting career and my spiritual life, and how do I make them in a dance with one another, whilst also being really philanthropic, which is a part of my spirituality and what my journey is. So I always go back to that. I know what that is. That's my foundation. And I know that is my truth and what resonates with me. So I guess I can build goals and my aspirations based on, does it serve this ultimate purpose? So I think finding what your purpose is, what do you want? Is it some sort of, I feel like everyone's dream is to have contentment in life. All right, so then what brings you contentment? Contentment is having enough time to connect on an authentic level with friends and family. How do I do that? Well, I do that by reading more, learning more about myself, getting deeper, having honest, authentic communications, and starting to lead by example with my friends, and then it unravels in that way. So figure out what it is that your overall life goal is, and then every little thing that comes your way, is it serving this, or is it taking time and attention away from what my ultimate goal is? I have friends whose goals are to find a husband. I have friends who are like, I want to find my life partner. And going off and traveling for a year, that is going to be a goal of mine, because maybe I'm going to meet someone very interesting and inspiring over in India when I go to the ashram, and we have an amazing connection. So I'm saying yes to that opportunity. But there are things that will come your way which instinctively won't feel right because it's not serving what your purpose is. So that's what I think you have to ask yourself, and be really, really honest about it. Even if this thing looks shiny and bright and it's something really exciting, there are no shortcuts. I just think staying true to your own authentic voice and what your own passion is going to be the thing that brings you all of those things that you desire in your life. So you just have to maintain focus on what that is for you and what that means for you, and I'm very clear on what mine is, and I think that's why it's been serving me in the last few years. All right, so that was it. We are done, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye.